For the past week, the British have been making this bizarre movement as old as the internet itself, and even older than that, putting the blame on games and such for poisoning the youth and implementing something called the Online Safety Act, which will require age verification for people that breaches doxing and violation of privacy, with some sites now going as far as to wanting your government ID. And it's not just the UK with their fish and chips, oh no, we Americans are about to pay the price too. And with YouTube about to take part in this new movement to censor the internet, it now joins sites like itch.io and Steam in bending the knee to payment processors who have been getting their asses handed to them all week from the gooners who just want to goon in peace. In the wake of all this, a specific anime called Shimonetta has been trending recently. Getting the reputation of being the idiocracy of anime, many have been pointing out that Shimonetta practically laid down the groundwork of what was to come in the future, a dystopia where being lewd is a huge no-no. This anime is a decade old, but only now have people started to wake up and realize this wasn't just an ordinary ecchi series that shows ass for fan service. This was 1984, but drawn by Japanese animators. Why has it stuck out to the mainstream now? And what's the parallels between this series and reality? Here's my takeaway. Hi, I'm Yui Tachibana, and I actually have a history with this show. You see, I watched this series back in 2021. In fact, it was one of the first anime that I watched that was in the ecchi genre at least, and immediately I was hooked by its dystopian scenario. The idea of rebelling against society all for the sake of being who you are regardless of what other people think, it excites me. It's an idea that goes back centuries and continues to be relevant to this day. This series about a student named Tanukichi who enters a so-called public morals school to reunite with his crush Anna goes far beyond a forbidden romance. In fact, it takes measures that gets wild real quick. I mean, the clip where Anna makes cookies with her quote-unquote love nectar says all you need to know about how far this show goes with its humor. Tanukichi most importantly finds himself involved with the SOX organization led by a girl who calls himself Blue Snow, who in functioning society is student council vice president Ayame. This double life, as you can imagine, keeps herself quite busy, and each episode, I swear, gets better than the last. It's actually criminal that this show didn't get a second season, especially with how relevant it has become in recent years. You see, this scenario about the Japanese government cracking down on anything perceived to be immoral by law, from distributing lewd content to even swearing, to the point they're forced to wear these things called peacemakers at all times. Basically, it's like wearing a shock collar. In other words, torture. When you get all that put together, it's no wonder that this show has been put back into the spotlight this week with the recent news that the British wants to surveillance us, and they won't stop at just the UK. As I said in the beginning, the US is taking part in this too, and it's not just YouTube either. They're trying to get their own Online Safety Act passed in office as well, all in the name of quote-unquote protecting the kids. Well, let me tell you something. Protecting the kids means that you treat us all like kids. Taking away the trust that we put in you to protect our privacy behind closed doors so you can play death trap with anything that we enjoy but you simply just don't like is absolute mutiny. By forcing us to leak our government IDs out there, you're asking VTubers to basically go out of business. Most of them are not comfortable with putting their real faces out there. You realize how bad the data breaches have gotten recently? Imagine someone takes their ID and reads their address and uses that to track them down and kill them? Shit, if you thought what happened with Camilla with the tracker was bad, well that shit's gonna happen like 10,000 times over and over again if this ID verification is certified as mandatory. All because some of us like to goon in peace. How pathetic must that be to want to ruin fun for those who be working 9 to 5s and may want to lay down afterwards and start gooning to HENTAI? This movement has been building up for a while, going back to years where Grand Theft Auto was being blamed for poisoning society, and in the forefront of it all this time is a group called Collective Shout, who believe that the games that they're taking down promote over-sexualization of women and dealing with RAPE and incest, when in reality the games that they are attempting to take down can be classified as art. For instance, this is not just about PORN. Horror games are now involved in this mess. The indie smash hit Mouthwashing was affected by this toxic movement, despite being 100% legal. By this logic, if you're getting mouthwashing out of there, you must ban the Terrifier and Saw series off of Netflix, Tubi, and all other streaming services too. Go ahead, fuck up everyone else's day. You know, I bet these people have not gotten over people buying Stellar Blade as opposed to falling for slop like Concord and Dustsport. Shit that appeals to absolutely no one but the fictional, no fun allowed buzzkills that only exist in their mind. They're jealous as hell, and they want to take it out on us cause hey, some of us like to play with just one hand, if you know what I mean. As part of their vengeance plans, they got the league behind the root of all evil, that being Visa and MasterCard. Taking part in this movement makes them just as bad, as this is how many of us be paying for these games to begin with, and taking that away from us, at least in America, is a First Amendment violation, period. The more I go down this rabbit hole of censorship, the more it becomes clear just how close we are to the world of Shimonetta. The dystopia that this show warned us about is slowly but surely gonna become reality if the British and collective shell are able to get away with their plans. People put hours of work into making their games, and they're being denied the much-deserved profit they get from people playing their games, whether that's in their homes or on stream. Yes, there exists shovelware up the ass, poorly made games with many of them using AI-generated slop, but they do not represent the prime example of the art of M-rated games. Of course, Andy and Lele is going to be controversial. Their story is an A24 movie on crack. And so what if Trouble Days likes to reward us with fan service the more we read the story? We like BTs! So pardon me when I'm being concerned that you're taking perfectly good games down. I ask you, what concrete evidence do you have that this is actually poisoning the youth? In the end, Shimonetta is a fun, goofy-ass anime, or at least it was when I first watched it 4 years ago. Now, it comes off to me as a warning, a message that shows us who we as a society will become if these car companies and no fun allowed movements get away with it. As of me writing this, the car processors are already feeling the heat from the amazing amount of phone calls they've received, which have been encouraged by 4chan of all people, so for all their faults, give them credit, they've been doing a great deed over here. But let's not stop here. If they are clearly getting their feelings hurt by us, continue until they revoke all plans to censor the internet. Cause let's be real, this is not about protecting children, this is about controlling how we think and feel. Living in a police state, I'd rather live in hell. And before I forget, it did come to my attention that this season, a new anime that is the polar opposite of Shimonetta is making the rounds as well, called Nukitashi. I have not watched it in full yet, but from what I see, this is just as relevant as Shimonetta, cause in the Nukitashi world, sex is mandatory as opposed to banned, and our main character believes in marriage before sex, so it's no surprise it's already been causing so much alarm that one of their own TV stations is airing it with audio only, calling back to the School Days finale years ago when a picture of a boat took its place. From what I can tell, Nukitashi is practically the fantasy world what these foolish activists believe that we're trying to make. Believing that we're shoving sex down people's throats is entirely missing the point here. Heck, it's also the same idea Shimonetta has. We're not rooting for complete anarchy here, otherwise all our accounts would be hacked by now. You would wish there were police, believe me. This is about letting us be who we are. We're humans. Some of us can have a twisted sense of humor. That's part of society. With that said, what do you think of this whole situation? Thanks for watching this video. This is your sunshine, Yui Tachibana, sunsetting for the day.